It's easier to do it faster, but I'm basically slowly just rolling this bottom edge around like a cone.
Yeah,
that was a terrible instruction. Okay, wait, should we do this with just the dried kim? Look. It's like this, and you're kind of going like this.
Like you're giving yourself a hug.
Yeah, weirdly, that's like the best way I can think of to explain it. To me, hand roll is like far from a technical terms. I feel like number one, you want your seaweed. Kim is a Korean name. You want your seasoned rice. And then I feel like the part where we get to go crazy is with the toppings. The other reason why I like it too is because it takes the work out of preparing stuff, because half the point of it is that people prepare their own thing.
I know, and it's exciting because now we're starting to see people and have these gatherings, and this would be like a perfect one to do.
Yeah, this is sort of my like glorious return to summer group hang.
Totally.
So rice, it's the thing that's going to take the longest to cook in the recipe. So once we get it on the stove, we have a good chunk of time to get everything else ready. I am using a medium grain rice today for the purposes of the hand rolls. We're looking for something that we can kind of just evenly and smoothly spread, that'll have that nice sticky texture so that the roll adheres to itself once we get wrapping. So we have our rice measured out. And before we cook it, really important step, we're going to rinse it really well so that we release some of that excess starch. This is going to ensure that it doesn't get that kind of gummy and really wet, sticky texture that you can find. It's the worst feeling. You can see immediately all of the starch is coming out and the water is super white and cloudy, which is a good thing. If you don't want to go through the trouble of washing a sieve afterward, which is me to a T, I just sort of tip it out. And so this is good. We have our rinsed rice. The method that I'm doing today is going to be stovetop rice. I feel like I generally opt for the stovetop option because it's just the fastest thing. I always eyeball the water for my rice at home.
Yeah.
And I generally feel like I do, a 1:1+ ratio of rice to water. You were talking about different ways of gauging, eyeballing whether or not you have the proper amount of water in the pot. This is not something that I was ever taught. My mom, I think, always measured the water and the rice. But I have heard different versions of this. Do you have a thing?
Yeah, even though I grew up using a rice cooker, I've also been taught first knuckle.
That was what I was taught
so
too.
When you and you don't push it in, but it should just kind of hit that first knuckle. You're like, wait, everyone's fingers are different lengths and all that. It just works.
I'm going to bring this to a boil over high heat and then immediately cover it. Let it do its thing. We'll check on it in 20 minutes.
So while the rice is cooking, we're gonna start the vegetable prep. The first thing that I'm gonna be prepping is our pickled daikon. Here she is.
It's a beautiful daikon.
She's beautiful. Her hair. Daikon is a radish. It's a radish that is used often in Korean cooking. And what we're gonna be doing with this is pickling it.
Should save those.
Yeah, definitely save these because this is actually a delicious kimchi that you can make as well. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Y peeler and peel this. Especially for what we're doing today, which is a quickle.
Yeah.
This will expedite the process of getting this vinegar, sugar, water mix into its pores. So I'm gonna cut it thinking about the length of the hand rolls.
Oh, that's smart.
We're gonna do long, skinny batons. Should we call it batons?
Yeah.
Sure.
Batons.
And then I'm gonna go straight down. So what we got are these. What do you think?
Very pretty. It's the perfect size.
These tops are so pretty. We're gonna also put it in there as well.
I'm excited for that.
The quickle recipe is very easy to remember. It's 3 parts vinegar, 2 parts water, 1 part sugar. The water is already measured out. We want the sugar to completely melt, and then that hot mixture is gonna be poured over to our batons. And what we need now is some time, a little bit of time.
Pause for a sec because my rice timer just went off.
Okay.
What I'm hoping for is that it's going to be sort of mostly dry. Looks like it would just be barely sticking together. Let's see how we did. That looks pretty good.
Ooh.
I don't want the surface of the rice to look wet. If it looks wet on the top, it's going to be wet on the bottom. With the hand rolls, you really don't want it to be wet because the second kim gets wet,
right,
it's just, it just becomes
else.
floppy and just not very pleasant to eat. The last thing that we will do to this is we're going to season it and fluff it. I have the same rice vinegar, a little bit of sugar, some salt. And then I'm just going to whisk that. And I'm doing it separately in the bowl. You want this to be a homogeneously seasoned pot of rice. You don't really want like random granules of sugar and salt. And then we're just gonna drizzle that over the rice. Unlike a lot of roll recipes, this recipe doesn't have any kind of dipping sauce or soy sauce. So we're trying to build flavor into the roll itself as much as we can. And because a big chunk of the roll is the rice, that's why we season the rice.
Now I'm gonna prepare the second ingredient of this roll, which is asparagus. And
it's also already basically in that baton form.
that's an excellent point. It's just ready to hang out. The blanching water is already going. And I like to do a heavy salt. Blanching is boiling.
It's boiling on a deadline.
Exactly. So we can also say like we're boiling this for less than a minute. The way that I prep an asparagus, it's gonna tell you where to snap. If you go like this, it immediately snaps where sort of the stocky, woody, fibrous parts are that you don't want to eat. So I'm actually gonna snap all of them.
So satisfying.
It is very satisfying. I just cut this in half because again, I'm envisioning the size of the hand
Those
rolls.
are perfect. So how long are you going for?
Less than 60 seconds.
So you're good, right?
I'm great.
I'm just gonna make some tuna.
Yay!
With the tuna, as we talked about before, riff on your sort of classic spicy tuna roll, which is typically made with raw tuna.
Right.
Not messing with that. I don't want to feel prohibited from making a recipe like this just because I don't have raw fish. Take these guys just straight into a bowl. We're gonna add a couple of seasonings that feel sort of classic to that spicy tuna vibe.
Yeah.
Mayo, sriracha, toasted sesame oil. And then I'm also just gonna add some toasted sesame seeds.
Perfect.
You're aiming for mostly mayo, seasoned with spice, with a hint of sesame. Just going to slice up my scallion quickly and add that to the mix. I find this to be extremely hard to mess up.
If you pour that whole ramekin of salt maybe, but yeah, exactly. You can't mess this up.
And I'm gonna set that aside and we'll revisit that when we plate everything.
Wonderful news.
Okay, great.
Christina, guess what time it is? It's egg time!
It's egg time!
Specifically, egg ribbon. I'm gonna do 2 eggs and just gonna season it with a little salt and pepper. Let's get a little oil.
Are you trying to be on high heat or?
I'm gonna do like medium high. I'm just getting the oil hot right now. But I also think it wouldn't be bad on high. It would just go in fast. I'm swirling it around. Let's flip. Few seconds on the other side and then right onto the cutting board. We're gonna let it cool just a little bit so that it's gonna be easier for me to handle, and that's when I'm gonna slice it into ribbons.
I'm gonna do my last couple of veg
Please,
prep things
please.
and then I think we're gonna be ready to plate
And eat.
and eat.
Okay.
I have a cucumber and avocado. I'm just
Okay.
gonna slice these up. They're gonna be additional fillings for my spicy tuna
More
rolls.
options, yep.
We want everything to adhere to that baton shape as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think now this is definitely cooled down enough for me to handle. So I'm gonna roll it up. We're gonna just slice these thin into ribbons. We got them.
Oh,
Fluff
those are
it.
gorgeous.
Fluff it.
And then my last thing that I'm going to prep is just some thinly sliced avocado. I'm gonna use a half of one. Just do thin slices all the way through.
I'm just building my plate. I'm so excited to feed you.
Will you open this for me?
Yes. And you're having me open this because you're scared to open it? Yeah.
Once upon a time, they had some issues with the jars exploding, but I get very, very scared of loud noises. I couldn't listen to fireworks without
really?
doing this until I was like a teenager.
Ready? I'm gonna do it as we're talking.
Yeah.
Anticlimactic.
And the kimchi, I'm not doing anything to that. I'm just chopping it up,
Yeah.
putting it in a little bowl. You wanna
Oh yeah.
cut up our kim? I was thinking of just doing it in quarters. I think that's the right size for
our hand rolls.
For our hand rolls, yeah. Hey, Suze.
Yeah.
Can you grab me my special bowl in the fridge? You know which one I'm talking about.
That's right.
My stacked fridge.
You happen to have some roe in your fridge.
Yes, I do. Oh, it's so good. So I'm using trout roe, a very special, fancy little topper. I've chosen for this to be my substitute for what I would say would be like a dipping sauce component, right? The second you bite into that roe, you get all of that super briny, like really, really savory deliciousness.
And more saltiness ultimately. Too.
Yeah. And so toppings, kim, rice,
Boom.
got
We got
everything
it.
we need. We're ready
Yep.
to build.
Let's do it.
So I was thinking we could do 2 styles of wrapping. One kind of basic log, and
Nothing basic about it, but go on, yes.
and then a cute little cone.
Let's start with the cone.
Okay, fun.
Yeah.
Gonna grab a piece of our kim. There is typically a shinier side.
Yeah.
You always want that side to be facing out. Like you want the shiny side down. I'm putting about a tablespoon of rice on the bottom third of my kim. Using warm rice definitely helps to make this a lot easier to evenly spread out. That looks great. And then I'm going to add just relatively small amounts of all my different toppings for my tuna hand rolls in a neat line, as close to the center of the rice as I can.
I'm gonna start with my protein, the egg ribbons.
Yeah. I'm gonna let my pea shoots peek out one side so you can see them once the cone is rolled up. Lots of row. And then starting from one corner, you're kind of just gonna roll this into a cone shape. And you can use a tiny bit of rice on the far corner to sort of seal it like a little sticker. And then I'll keep them in place until you're ready.
I mean, I'm getting the shape.
Wait, can I put
the
this?
structural integrity is questionable.
Okay, wait, so you want to hold it kind of like a diamond?
Yeah.
And then think about just having the corners of the diamond meet and cross over each other,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Look, it's like this,
Uh-huh.
and you're kind of going like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you're giving yourself a hug.
Yeah, weirdly, that's like the best way I can think of to explain it.
Uh-huh.
And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Uh-huh.
Should we take a pause from the cone? Should we do a log first
Sure,
to like
let's do a
build some
log.
confidence?
I feel very confident.
But the log is a lot more straightforward, right? You're kind of putting rice right down the middle.
Are you leaving a border on the edges?
Yeah, just a little bit because it's going to make it easier to close up in the end. A little bit of egg ribbon all the way through. And then from here, I'm going to start with the end that's closest to me and just roll it up into a neat little log. Again, you can sort of do that same thing where you just take a dab of rice to close up the seam like a little sticker, and that's the roll. Now it kind of has held itself shut. Okay.
Cheers.
Oh, mine is so salty.
Mine is a little bit more subdued.
But what we've been talking about this whole time, right? With something like this, I'm actually really glad in the end that so much of that savoriness is coming through.
Yeah.
Because we took the time to season so many of those individual components properly, aggressively. From the tuna, you have the saltiness, obviously, of the kimchi. May I make you one of my cones?
Yes. May I make you one of my?
Yes, please.
I love the combination that we're doing. Like yours has got a lot of like saltiness too. And this is, you get all the flavors, but it's a little bit more subdued.
Okay, this is less beautiful than my previous cone. Forgive me.
I don't want to hear the excuses. Huh? Okay.
I feel like
Just pick it up from
I
the
feel
bottom,
like you
okay?
feel yeah. I feel like you feel like you're the bad student. I feel like I'm the bad teacher.
No, I do not. No, the student has become the teacher. No.
Thanks, Suze.
Thank you. All right, this is beautiful.
This is very good. I mean, I love the egg.
This is the bomb. This is really the bomb.
Your pickles turn out amazing.
It's a nice counterbalance. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. This was so fun.
It's so fun. It's so delicious. It's the perfect summer thing.
Should we hug ourselves since we can't hug each other?
Let's hug ourselves like a cone.
Remember,
It's
like this.
When we make the cone.
You go like this, and then you go like this.
Like this. Okay, we became the cones.
Do you ever do the thing where you go and get like a burrito at Chipotle and then they start rolling it up and you're just looking and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, where you're like, I've overdone it. Are you worried
It's just
about
like they
it?
get to the first roll and you're like, oh no, everything's going wrong.
But I feel like also they're so seasoned and pro that they're like, we've seen worse, and they get it in there.
I know, I get so embarrassed, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's the roll. Not the roll that we're doing today, but
Yeah.
it's a good roll.
Yeah. Yes.